We're breaking news tonight. The New York State Attorney General has opened an inquiry into the Trump Foundation. But first, we had a major breakthrough today with the American political media. It's something I've been waiting for, encouraging, wanting to see happen all year. It finally happened, and it happened on another network. That's next. I know you're frustrated with the news media. The news media is frustrated with the news media. Okay, I'm frustrated with the news media, and I am the news media, so at least that makes one of us in the media who shares your frustration with the media. And Joy Reid does too. We just learned that. So, like you, I am so frustrated with the news media's coverage of this presidential campaign that I usually don't know where to begin, but tonight I do. For months now, I've been trying to get the news media to understand that Donald Trump's excuse for not releasing his tax returns might not be just an excuse. It might be a complete lie.
When the audit's finished, I'll release my tax returns.
The news media bought the audit line completely for a while, but then they discovered that President Nixon released his tax returns even though they were under audit. But what I've never been able to get the media to understand is that there is no proof that Donald Trump is actually being audited. In March, Donald Trump released a letter from his tax lawyer, Willie Nelson. No, seriously, his tax lawyer is Willie Nelson. And Willie Nelson's letter to Donald Trump is supposed to confirm that Donald Trump is being audited, but the letter never once uses the word audit. And because it's a letter from a lawyer, reporters probably assumed they wouldn't understand it, and why bother reading it when you can just cover the next crazy thing that Donald Trump says that day. And even if the lawyer's letter said that Donald Trump's taxes were being audited, that wouldn't mean he was being audited. That's how tricky this can be. Donald Trump's lawyer could say anything in that letter, anything he wants. It doesn't mean a thing. I invited the former director of the IRS under President George W. Bush on this program in March to explain that there is no proof that Donald Trump is being audited, and it's impossible for the IRS to disclose anything about an individual taxpayer, so the IRS isn't able to confirm that Donald Trump is being audited, and of course Donald Trump knows that. And he knows that the IRS can't say anything about his tax returns, and so he knows that he can just say he's being audited. He knows that anyone can say they're being audited, and none of us can prove that that's not true. But there is one way for Trump to prove that he is being audited, or at least that an audit was at some point commenced, and that is to release the IRS form letter that he would have received at the beginning of an audit. Now, some audits close very quickly, so showing an IRS letter commencing an audit would not necessarily mean that an audit is still going on, but it would be something. It'd be something to show that an audit had happened at some point at least. He would have one of those letters for every year that he would have been audited if he was audited. That letter would reveal nothing about Donald Trump's income or wealth. It's just a form letter that thousands of people receive every year announcing an audit. And I have taken to Twitter repeatedly this year trying to help the news media on this point, especially the people who get a chance to ask Donald Trump questions. In May, I tried to alert Trump interviewers on this point. Note to Donald Trump interviewers, there's no proof Trump is being audited. He could release IRS audit letter, try asking for it. I kept at this for months with my frustration mounting, and on August 2nd, I did two of these tweets. One saying, political media seems incapable of understanding there is no actual proof Donald Trump is being audited by IRS. I usually wrote those tweets after watching a TV interview of Donald Trump or a Trump surrogate completely fall for the idea that Donald Trump is being audited. On that same day in August, I said, who will be the first Donald Trump interviewer to ask him to release his audit letter from the IRS, which would prove he was audited? And I had no takers. Not one person in the media who has ever gotten the chance to speak to Donald Trump about his taxes or about anything has ever asked Donald Trump to prove that he is being audited by showing the IRS letter. All the Trump interviewers have modeled their questions about taxes on every previous Trump interviewer's questions about taxes. And Donald Trump gave the same answer every time. He said he's being audited. What if Trump wasn't being audited? What excuse would he have then for not releasing his tax returns? It's an important question. Is Donald Trump really being audited? That question has been sitting right there in front of the media for months and months and months, and they've missed it until today. Yesterday, as I watched a Trump surrogate get away with the Trump audit excuse once again without the audit itself ever being in doubt in that interview, I tweeted, "Media remains determined to never understand that there's no proof Donald Trump is being audited. Hint, ask for the IRS audit letter." Imagine my joy this morning when this happened.
Let's talk about Donald Trump's tax records. When can we expect to see them?
When his lawyer and his accountants tell him that he should release them when he's no longer under audit. He's made that very clear.
Has Donald Trump, or will he release anything from the IRS, a letter from the IRS proving that he's under audit?
I'm sorry?
Whoa. I just want to slow this down. I want to slow down this moment because it's just so good. I've been waiting for this for so long, and Kellyanne Conway had no idea it was coming, no idea. She apparently is not one of my 892,000 Twitter followers, and I hope she never is, because then I can continue to surprise her with questions on TV, even though she will never come on my show. When is the last time you saw Kellyanne Conway mixing one of her high-speed word salads in a TV interview where she was suddenly stopped, cold, shocked into an "I'm sorry"? She said "I'm sorry" so she could slow this thing down and figure out what to throw back at the interviewer in response to a question she's never heard before. And you got to remember, when you see Kellyanne Conway being interviewed, that every question she's being asked is a question someone else has asked her already. That is why it's pretty easy being Kellyanne Conway on TV these days, but it's not easy being Kellyanne Conway on TV this morning with Allison Camerata.
Has Donald Trump, or will he release anything from the IRS, a letter from the IRS proving that he's under audit?
I'm sorry?
Will Donald Trump release anything from the IRS proving that he's under audit?
I don't know. Why? In other words, why are you calling him a liar?
Okay, so one of the first things in the unwritten rule book of campaign management is, under no circumstances do you ever ask interviewers if they are calling your candidate a liar. Every professional campaign operative knows you never, ever do that. And one of the reasons you never do that is that, yes, the media often is, in effect, with questions like that, calling your candidate a liar. And you can, unless you can prove that he's not a liar. And the other reason you never ask interviewers if their candidate, if they are calling your candidate a liar, is that your candidate just might be a liar. And when your candidate is Donald Trump, you know you are working for the most poisonous, relentless, deplorable liar in the history of presidential campaigning.
I watched when the World Trade Center came tumbling down. And I watched in Jersey City, New Jersey, where thousands and thousands of people were cheering as that building was coming down. Thousands of people were cheering. How did he keep us safe when the World Trade Center came down? The world, I lost hundreds of friends.
He lies about 9/11. He didn't see anyone in New Jersey celebrating on 9/11, no one. He lied about that. He's willing to lie about America's darkest day of the 21st century because he will lie about anything at any time. He did not know hundreds of people who were killed on 9/11. There is no evidence that Donald Trump attended a single funeral after 9/11. He never attended a 9/11 ceremony until last weekend. He lies about the dead of 9/11. He pretends he knew them. He steals the grief of 9/11 families and of the friends of 9/11 victims and claims it as his own grief, as if it was his own pain, as if he suffered it himself. So yeah, I'm calling him a liar, and I've been calling him a liar for 5 years, since he started lying about President Obama's birth. And if he's lying about being audited, it will be one of the smallest lies he's ever told. Today, Allison Camerata taught presidential debate moderators the question to ask Donald Trump about his tax returns being audited. Let's hope one of them was watching.